Darlington Solves It. Storybook Part 3, titled The Healer of Shadows. Once upon a time, in a small, remote village nestled between mist-covered hills, there lived a woman named Elira. Her cottage stood at the edge of the village, hidden by the thick trees and wildflowers that grew in abundance around her home. The villagers often spoke of her, and none of the stories were good. They whispered about her strange ways, how she never participated in village festivities, how she kept to herself, and how she always seemed to be watching them with those unsettling pale green eyes. There was a rumor that she could curse someone with just a glance, that she spoke to spirits, and that the potions she brewed in the dark of night had the power to make people ill or die. Elira wasn't a witch, though. She was simply a healer, living in harmony with the world around her, a world that the villagers had long since forgotten to understand. Her mother, an herbalist who had passed when Elira was a young woman, had taught her the ways of plants and their healing properties. She knew how to cure fevers with elderberries, calm stomachaches with mint, and mend broken bones with poultices made from wildflowers and roots. The potions she brewed weren't magic, they were made from nature's bounty, meant to soothe and heal. But the villagers did not see it that way. To them, anything that deviated from the norm was suspect. Elira's silence, her solitary life, her knowledge of herbs, and her strange, often cryptic manner were all interpreted as signs of dark powers. No one dared approach her, except in times of desperation, and when they did, it was only to ask for remedies, never to thank her. One chilly autumn evening, a storm swept in, bringing a cold wind and thick grey clouds. The villagers noticed that their livestock began to fall ill. At first, it was just a few cows and sheep, but by the second day, it spread to the chickens, the goats, and the pigs. Then, a few people began to show signs of illness, weakness, fever, and an unsettling cough. The air in the village grew tense, filled with the scent of fear and uncertainty. No one knew what was happening or how to stop it. The elders of the village gathered, trying to reason out the cause, but they were no closer to an answer. Some suggested that it was a curse, something that had befallen them for some unknown reason. The more superstitious among them immediately pointed fingers at Elira. They recalled the whispers about her, how she had always been so secretive, how she had lived alone at the edge of the village, how she had kept to herself during the harvest festival that year. In their fear, they concluded that Elira's mysterious ways had to be the cause of this misfortune. They were certain she had brought the plague upon them. And it wasn't long before the fear turned into a mob mentality. The villagers, frightened and desperate, decided to confront Elira. They believed she had cursed them, and they could not bear the thought of waiting any longer for a solution. They gathered at the village square, their faces twisted with suspicion, and made their way to her cottage with torches in hand. As the mob approached, Elira knew they were coming. She had seen the telltale signs of panic spreading through the village, and had already started to prepare. But instead of running, she stood on the front steps of her cottage, her back straight, her expression calm. When the villagers reached her door, they saw her standing there, holding a bundle of fresh herbs wrapped in a cloth. Her eyes, pale as the moonlight, met theirs. "You believe I am the cause of this illness," Elira said, her voice steady and unafraid. "But I am not the one who has brought this upon you." The villagers scoffed. "Witch," one of them shouted. "You've cursed us, just like they said you would." "I am not a witch," Elira replied softly. "I am a healer, and if you want your people to survive, you must listen." The mob hesitated for a moment. The anger in their eyes faltered, replaced by the beginnings of doubt. They had come for vengeance, but now, seeing her stand before them so calmly, their certainty wavered. The leader of the group, a burly man named Thomas, stepped forward, a grimace still on his face. "You will have to prove it then," Thomas said, his voice low and threatening. "How can we know you are not responsible for this sickness? How can we trust you?" Elira's eyes softened, but her resolve was firm. "The sickness is not a curse, but a plague. It spreads from infected animals. I've already seen the signs: the fever, the weakness, the cough. Your livestock were the first to fall ill, and now it is spreading to you." The villagers exchanged uneasy glances, their doubt growing. Elira continued, her voice gentle yet filled with authority. "I have the knowledge to stop it. The herbs I've gathered will help. If you let me treat the sick, I can save them." The crowd murmured, some still uncertain, but desperation soon overtook their fear. The illness was ravaging their village, and they had nothing to lose. With a reluctant nod, Thomas stepped back and gestured for the others to allow Elira to pass. For the next several days, Elira worked tirelessly. She mixed potions and salves, using the herbs she had gathered to create remedies for the afflicted. She brewed teas of elderflower and ginger to help combat the fever, while making poultices of garlic and thyme to ease breathing and reduce swelling. She taught the villagers how to use mint to soothe stomachs, how to make honey mixtures to relieve sore throats, and how to create healing balms for the rashes and sores that had appeared. The first few days were the hardest. The illness had already spread widely, and many were very sick. But Ilarin never gave up. Slowly, the villagers began to improve. The fever broke in many of the ill, and those who had been bedridden were able to rise. The livestock, too, began to recover, thanks to Ilari's special tinctures. As the village started to heal, something remarkable happened. The fear that had once gripped the villagers began to fade. They saw the truth that the illness had not been caused by magic or malice, but by a simple misfortune, a plague of nature. And in the end, it was Ilara who had saved them, with her knowledge and her skill, not with any dark powers. One by one, the villagers came to her, their faces filled with shame and gratitude. "We were wrong," Thomas said, his voice thick with regret. "We judged you harshly, and we're sorry. You saved us. We see now that you are no witch." Ilara simply nodded, her expression gentle. "I never wanted to be feared. I only wanted to help," and she forgave them, for she knew that fear often blinds people to the truth. From that day forward, Ilara was no longer the mysterious, feared woman at the edge of the village. She became a beloved figure, a healer and a friend. The villagers no longer whispered about her in the dark corners of the tavern. They sought her out for her wisdom and care, and they came to understand the true power of knowledge, compassion, and nature's gifts. Ilara continued to live in her cottage, alone but no longer lonely. The villagers would often come to visit her, to share their news or simply to thank her. And whenever anyone needed help, whether for a cold or a broken leg, Ilara was there to heal, not with magic, but with the true magic of love and knowledge. And so the village flourished, no longer bound by fear but strengthened by understanding. Ilara had not only saved them from the plague, but she had also taught them the value of compassion, acceptance, and the wisdom that lies in the world around them, if only they took the time to understand it. Thank you for watching and listening. Please subscribe, like, comment, and share. Darlington solves it.